Cardigan, when we're asked to differentiate ourselves, the way we do that is, number one, we're all boys. I'd say number two, we're only a middle school or grade 6 through 9. We don't have a lower school. We're almost all boarding. For all intents and purposes, we're all boarding. For me, it's what we have the sunrise hike and the sunset hike. And that's when all of our new students, along with the student leaders and some faculty, get up really early in the morning. They climb Mount Cardigan basically in the dark, and they watch the sun rise. And then during their 9th grade year, at the end of the school year, before graduation, the 9th graders and faculty climb Mount Cardigan sort of at dusk and go up and then watch the sun set. So it's sort of the beginning and the end of their Cardigan career. And particularly the sunset climb is really powerful because the kids are given a chance to speak and reflect on their experience. It's really, really kind of heartwarming to hear the boys reflect on their experience, and they really come to realize and understand what a wonderful experience it was. Not always easy, bumps in the road, ups and downs, but there's a real sense of accomplishment and appreciation for the opportunity that they've had. It's a junior boarding school, first and foremost, and it's all boys. There are 10 junior boarding schools in what we call the Junior Boarding School Association. Cardigan, when we're asked to differentiate ourselves, the way we do that is, number one, we're all boys. I'd say number two, we're only a middle school or grade 6 through 9. We don't have a lower school. We're almost all boarding. For all intents and purposes, we're all boarding. We're about 90% boarding, very small day population. We're not in a strong day student market, nor do we want to be. We want to focus on a residential community. We focus strongly on community. Again, we're almost all boarding, so this is their home for the school year. These boys are coming to us at a very critical age. They're growing, developing, hopefully maturing in a lot of different ways. When we enroll boys and their families, we assume that they share, some common values. We stress community. What it means to be part of a community, and that entails having a responsibility beyond themselves. That's really what is going to be important to them beyond Cardigan, beyond high school, beyond college. You have to know how to function as a community member. What I like about Cardigan, it's both the on-campus internal community and the greater Cardigan community throughout the United States and the world. Cardigan Mountain School is named after a mountain, but the mountain is actually called Mount Cardigan. I don't know if the folks that founded the school and named it didn't know that, or they just felt like Cardigan Mountain School sounded better than Mount Cardigan School. It's a little odd, I think. It's kind of a fun fact that not many people know. That's a little bit difficult for us because we're very rural. Canaan, New Hampshire is tiny. We're easily the largest employer. Our campus is the most densely populated area of Canaan. We try to do as much as we can with, for example, there are some local community service opportunities. This may sound strange to a lot of people, but many of the people the residents of Canaan, it's very sparsely populated, but many of them heat their homes with wood, and they're older. And we have a program where our boys go and help stack the wood, rake the leaves in the fall, which they really, really appreciate. The campus is also open at times or the facilities are open for different activities for the local residents. But as I said, it's a little bit difficult just given our location and the nature of Canaan. It's a small place. Try to be as involved with the community as we can. Another example would be, and a lot of these things take place during Thursday afternoons, during what we call clubs, as well as on Sunday mornings. But the local elementary school, actually where my wife teaches, it's a kindergarten through grade 4 school, often, or at least now post-COVID, we're able to have particularly our international students go down and with the students tell them a little bit about where they're from, what their country's like, what their culture's like, show them on a map or a globe where they live, and try and give them an idea of how far away that is. So it's really just small community service type activities like that help our boys get involved in at least in the immediate Canaan community. Our secondary school counseling process starts really about midway through the 8th grade year. And we have a director of secondary school counseling, and this year 3 other faculty members who help with that. It's a very comprehensive program. The first thing they'll talk a little bit about is that, trying to get a sense from the boys, what would be your ideal school? Not putting a name on that school, but sort of, trying to determine, do you want to continue in an all-boys school? Do you want co-ed? Do you want a school that's bigger than Cardigan or the same size or maybe a bit smaller? Smaller would be probably hard to find, and then the setting. Do you like the rural setting? Do you want to be close to a city? Are there specific arts or music or sports that you really want to pursue? And then you sort of take all of that information, then take the academic profile of the student and start to build a list. This is working with the parents as well. It's usually a very long list to start with. The boys then, when they go home for the summer, they research the schools, narrow it down, and start to make appointments at schools that they want to visit in the fall. But also checking in with the secondary school counselor to make sure the list stays as balanced as possible. The reaches and know schools that are where the boys' chances are pretty strong of getting in, even if it's not at the top of their list. But we also work with the boys on SSAT preparation, interview techniques. When they come back in the fall of their 9th grade year, they sit down with the secondary school counseling folks, make sure we've got a balanced list, hopefully. Sometimes that's a little bit more difficult than with some students than it is with others, and sometimes very difficult with parents. We get there, and then they visit schools right after fall family weekend. They have the entire week to visit schools. We also, prior to that, will hold 2 or 3 school fairs on campus, where over the course of those fairs, probably 100 schools are present. We also do that in the spring prior with probably 100 schools. During those fairs, we encourage the boys to go to as many tables as they can, even if they're not really that interested in school, but to practice interacting with admission counselors and adults. They come back between Thanksgiving and the winter holidays. They really need to have their list finalized and be well on their way to the applications. In January, all their applications are in, and the secondary school counseling staff will schedule. Usually it's a phone call or Zoom with the admission office of every school to which we have applicants, to both advocate for our kids, to get a sense of how our boys are being read. We want to make sure that everybody has a home, hopefully in their top 3 choices, so when decisions come out, they're happy, and at the very least, they have an opportunity at a school that's a good fit for them. Not necessarily at the top of their list all the time, but quite often it is. So my immediate answer would be a boy from Bangkok who is our newly appointed school leader, or newly elected school leader, I should say. That's the highest student leadership position that we have. And that's quite a process that they go through. Every community member is able to sort of go down and rate each boy on various categories. And then typically the ones with the maybe 4, 5, or 6 top vote getters are able to, or are invited to, give a speech in front of the whole school community to be school leader. Those are really fun speeches to watch. This boy, he's one of 3 brothers that have come to Cardigan, and he will, this afternoon and Friday, when we're welcoming new families, he'll be front and center with our head of school and head of school's wife, welcoming all the students, both returning and new. Very good student. He's been active in both athletics and community service and the arts. He's just a really impressive boy. I was thinking about this morning too, and this is not a recent graduate, but it's a boy that was a classmate of my son, and Chinese boy. When he came, his English was not strong. He had a little bit of trouble adjusting to, being in a boarding school and the structure and that sort of thing. But he did. He adjusted. And by the time he graduated, he had come a long, long way. But I will say I was very surprised about 4 or 5 years ago. We found out that he was accepted to Cornell University into their hotel management program, which is extremely selective. And he's graduated now, and he's also one of my colleagues in the admission office who coached lacrosse for a long time, has been working with him to give him some ideas of how to get a youth lacrosse program started in China. And this is a boy that spent a fair amount of time with my wife and I and our son on Thanksgiving and that sort of thing. My son was, I would say, a bit shocked when he learned that this boy was at Cornell and then had graduated. So that's one of the fun things about working in an independent school is the success stories and really seeing the alums as they grow into adults, have their own lives.